I'm not as worried about it as I was at one point. And even though my sight isn't as good as it once was, hey man, it's life. Got to figure it out, right?
Yeah, I guess. But you're very healthy though. The body should be able to like help that way a little bit, no?
I think it's the mindset. I
Right?
think it's the mindset. I'm willing my way through it.
Yeah, it's
So
powerful.
yeah, I think it is, man. I think it is. Anytime we're diseased, we have to keep a positive mindset. What other option is there?
Yeah.
But today we're going to talk a lot about mindset. So you're looking lean, and did you do our cleanup? Excuse me.
That was a couple of weeks ago. I got into 5 days and then I kind of injured myself a bit. And then I just this not strong enough mindset and then fell apart a little bit.
It's all right. You're still here, relentless, accountable. What was that last part?
I said I'm tired of doing the yo-yo, like healthy, then less healthy, or not healthy at all.
Yes, that is perfect. That is exactly what we're going to talk about tonight. So, Chris, I see you're on the call. We spoke recently, so we're good. Eric, good to see you. We spoke yesterday, so we're good. And I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it, guys. Can you guys see my PowerPoint?
Yep.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Excellent. So today we're going to talk about facing your dark side. You face your dark side or you lose your gutless glow. It's not just your gutless glow. We lose just about everything because we can only keep as much as we throw away. We can only be as positive as we are negative. So we have to confront our dark side if we are going to, in fact, not yo-yo, like you said, David, and find ourselves in this never-ending cycle of doing well and then not doing well. Kicking ass for 3 days and then going on a bender and being hungover for 3 days and not doing shit, right? So we're going to talk about that today. And so I want you guys to keep all these amazing benefits that you've gotten. So increased energy, confidence, clothes fitting better, feeling younger. So we're going to talk about how to keep all of those things and preserve the gutless glow. We can only do that, again, if we dig into your bad stuff. So we have to go dark and confront our dark side or risk losing everything that we've worked for. What's the point if we lose everything we've worked for since January 8th? I don't want that to happen, and it's not going to happen. Think about that. It's April. We are a quarter of the way through the year, and we've spent a lot of time together. We've done a lot of incredible things together, and you've kicked ass. So hats off to you guys. Chris really stepped up in the end, and I saw you recently. You look fantastic. I was just, shocked, not surprised, but always shocked when you go all in, how quickly you get results. It's incredible. So if you made it through the 8-week challenge, you've had some trials and tribulations, you're still here. I appreciate that. Most of you lost 10 to 30 pounds, but what's next? So guys, I wish it could be a short-term thing like, hey, you're cured. We spent 8 weeks together and now you're perfect and you're never going to put that weight back on. What do you see on this screen? What is underlined? There's an arrow pointing at two words that are underlined in gold.
Motherfucking war.
Nailed it. A+. Great job. It's a lifelong war, and we're going to win it together. The reality is we've won the first battle, right? So we made it to our first marker together. That's great. But do we want to go back now? Because the reality is there's really only two ways to go, backwards or forwards. That's the only way to do it. If we sit still, we're essentially moving backwards. Right? Time is going to increasingly make it difficult for us to lose weight. It's like the dollar. You can't just put U.S. currency in the bank and expect it to hold its value. With every passing day, it gets harder to stay in shape. We got to continue fighting the war. And so we're going to talk about the guys who won. Like we had some big winners. We got one on the call here. Eric killed it, honorable mention. But the reality is, for all the guys who won and they got recognition, they got their sweatshirts on the way, the real challenge is keeping the weight off, is keeping all the benefits associated with losing 10 to 30 pounds and boosting your T in just 8 weeks. The reality is most lotto winners lose everything, right? 70% end up worse than they were. They go bankrupt. Why is that? What's the point of losing weight or winning the lotto if you're just going to lose everything in the case of the bankruptcies or gain everything back if we're talking about gutless. So I love to see success stories, but even if you didn't lose 27 pounds in 8 weeks and you're still struggling to get this down like David, you're still here, you're still putting in the work. And if you continue and you lose 15 or you keep your weight off, even if you don't lose anymore, but you keep it off, or you move on to lose 30 pounds and Will, who lost 27 pounds in 8 weeks, puts it all back on, who's the real winner, right? So this is a war. It's not a battle. That was a fun contest, but we're still rolling. There is more gold on the horizon, and our work has just begun. So, guys, we're the sum total of our behavior, all of it, good and bad. And we're going to come back to this slide, but we have behavior on the y-axis. We have time on the x. We are the sum total of our behavior, all of it. So let's put this into context. 1 week, you stay true to the Gutless Grub plan. You exercise every day. You're dialed in and focused at work, and you're absolutely killing it. So you're eating right, you're exercising, you're focused, your mindset is good because you're not polluting your mind with alcohol and your body with crappy foods, and you're exercising, you're doing the things to keep you sharp, and everything's going good. So you do an entire week of that. You get 5 solid days in there, killing it. But then you go out and you get trashed on Friday, and that turns into a 3-day bender. So you're hungover until Wednesday because we're not young men anymore. You feel like shit, you're eating like shit, and you're not working out. You just went into a 5-day time vortex, right? So you did 5 days, Monday through Friday, that were great. Then you got trashed on Friday through Sunday. You were hungover till Wednesday. So what are we left with there? Great. You kicked ass Monday through Friday, but then you undid everything, right? So what's our sum total, guys? 0. Goose egg. Exactly. So again, when we complete this challenge, we're feeling great. Our energy's up. Some of us are looking and feeling better than we have in 10 years. Eric, you said 18 years, right? Your son's 18. You've been trying to get rid of this weight for 18 years. So you're feeling incredible. Now let's talk about staying incredible, keeping that feeling, maintaining that feeling, because if we don't address our dark side, we could end up giving into the same impulses that got us in trouble in the first place. Cognitive behavioral therapy really focuses on thoughts impacting feelings, which impact your actions and behaviors, i.e., what you do, what you eat, what you don't eat, if you work out, if you don't work out. It starts with your thoughts. So this is the one thing that a lot of other programs don't address. And in doing all our testimonials, I love when guys say, it was the mindset, it was the mentality, it was the habits. That's the major differentiator. That's what drives long-term success, whereas a lot of other diets do not, because they don't address the mindset. They don't address your thoughts. And today, we're going to get deep, dark, and dirty with your dark side, because thoughts impact feelings, and feelings impact behaviors. So when you started this journey, you wanted to know more about boosting T, losing gut fat, and achieving your desired body composition. You made a lot of progress. You've gotten some great results, and that's excellent. But you really must understand yourself and all of yourself. We tend to sweep things under the rug that are ugly. We tend to run from our thoughts that are not pleasant, that are uncomfortable. But we can't do that if we're going to win this war. So we must open up the closet tonight and have an uncomfortable look at the things that we're trying to hide from the world. And so Chris is on the phone right now, and Chris is a part of 5-Dimensional Man. And we focus on health, wealth, dating, tribe, and purpose. It's a lot of shit. For that reason, from a commercial standpoint, it wasn't a very successful enterprise. But the results we got for men were amazing. So I'm very proud of that. And our course hasn't changed all that much. Still a men's group, still focused on driving lasting results for men. And at the foundation of our work, health was always the first thing that we did. Because if you're not healthy, if you're not taking care of your body, it's really hard to feel good about yourself. And if you're not feeling good about yourself, you're not thinking good things about yourself. And we go back to this cycle here. What you think impacts how you feel and what you do. So we always started there because we could build some forward momentum. And tonight we're going to look at these 5 areas. So I'd like you to get out a pen and paper or open up a Word document. I'll give you guys a second to do that. David, good? Okay, great. So, guys, subconsciously or consciously, we are eating to address anxiety, to address depression, boredom, loneliness, emptiness, and a sense of your life lacking purpose, lacking meaning. I know that from having worked with thousands of guys now. Those are the reasons that we become destructive. And I've gotten a lot better at figuring out when it is that I end up getting fucked up, because my vice is alcohol. I like to go out, and it's generally because I'm feeling lonely. I'm lacking social connection. I'm feeling anxiety. And you got to sit down and really think about where it's coming from, because trying to drown that feeling with food or booze or crack or hookers, again, I've worked with a lot of guys. It gets pretty weird. It's not going to do it, because the source comes back to this slide. The reason you have anxiety or depression generally tracks back to these 5 areas, and having a deficiency or a hole in any of these 5 areas. So take 5 minutes to think about the identity that you have assigned to yourself in these 5 areas, okay? And I'm going to jump ahead and show you the guy that I want you to tap into and bring out right now. You see this ugly little fucker on the screen here? Each of us have one of these little motherfuckers that live in our heads. Little troll, he's mean, he's caustic, he's nasty, and he makes you feel bad all the time. He makes you feel so bad that you want to jump into a bowl of candy, a bowl of booze, crack, hookers, whatever it is. But he makes you want to seek synthetic and external sources of comfort. So today we want to jump into the thoughts, the voice that's in your head that usually tells you you are one thing or another in each of these areas. So in health, it could be, I have the fat gene, I have a gut, you're too old to get in shape, just give up, it's not worth it, who cares anyways, right? So there's no fat gene, and a gut is a physical state of being, which is reconcilable, and we have proved that. Go to the testimonials page. That is not an identity. That is a physical attribute. That is not your identity. So these are symptoms. They are attributes. You cannot be a fat guy or just a guy who cannot lose weight. That's your body. That's not who you are. And it's totally reconcilable. But write down who you are in your mind. Who does your mind tell you are? Chris is this type of guy, or David's that type of guy. Eric's this type of guy. Could be tall guy, tall, lanky guy. Could be short, stocky guy. Could be whatever, but just write it down. And this slide, health, should not say dating. It should say wealth. Okay. So we'll pretend that I have 5 slides here. Maybe I'll just make one quickly. Okay. So wealth would be, I can just free flow this. Wealth would be, I'm bad with money, or I am in debt. I am perpetually and forever in debt. That's something I've recently addressed in my mind, which is like, oh, you're just a guy who's in debt. No, you can pay off your debt. And the reality is, I actually had enough money in my bank account to take a serious dent out of my debt, but I like the fluidity of my cash flow. But at the same time, part of my identity is like, you have this huge mountain of debt on top of your head. And I had this, this concept of self. I was like, oh, Bryce, you're just like, you're in debt forever. It's like, no, you're not, dude. The answer is right fucking there. So it took me, I literally paid off a lot of my debt today. And I was just shocked at how great it felt and how fucking long it took me to just pay it. I even had the money. I just couldn't pull the trigger. And part of it had to do with my identity around that debt. It just became a part of me. So I had resistance against changing it. And that's why with wealth is like, oh, I'm a broke guy, or I'm bad with money. It's an excuse for why you can't get more of it, or why you can't get yourself out of debt. A lot of times it's just a fucking story, but it's something we really need to be aware of. So write that down. What's your identity? Who is David? Who is Eric? Who is Chris when it comes to money? And then dating. I am unlovable. I am undateable. I am unfuckable. Untrue. The way that we get out of these mindsets, I'm unlovable. Well, engage in an 8-week challenge that forces you to demonstrate self-love and see how you feel at the end of it. I am undateable. Start with taking care of yourself. Make yourself more attractive, not only physically, but also metaphysically and from a personality standpoint by taking care of yourself, which will increase your confidence, which will make you much more dateable. I am unfuckable. Ties into the same thing. Okay, so how we look is a reflection of how we're treating ourselves. It all impacts how we feel. How we feel, our confidence levels, actually more important to women than our physical appearance. For those of you who are in relationships, doesn't matter. Dating, relationships, same thing. Had one of our guys tell me that his wife told him that she no longer finds him attractive. And that is something he's going to have to work through so it doesn't become a part of his identity. Tribe. I'm a loner. I'm a bad dad. I'm irresponsible. I'm a bad friend. I'm a bad husband. I'm a bad boyfriend. I can't be faithful, right? They want to be in a relationship. They want love, but they say, I can't be faithful. I can't this. I can't that. It's bullshit, okay? It's all achievable. There are steps. It requires discipline. It requires work. But you are not any of these things. You're a fucking human being. And as a member of the human species, you are the most adaptable animal that has ever existed. I can't is bullshit. It is bullshit. I started going there with my eye. David, you're asking about my eye. I felt like, fuck, I couldn't continue. If I went blind, there was a moment where I was like, if I go blind in my right eye, and then it goes into my left eye, what would I do? Would I even want to continue living? I started to get in a really desperate state of mind. I am this, I am that, I am fucked. You know, I'm worthless, I'm fucking disabled. Went to a really dark place. And I was also the head of this organization. I was also the guy who's tasked and responsible for finishing out the 8 weeks with you guys and being a positive influence. So I had to snap out of that shit, and I had to get myself into an empowered state of mind, take my ass down to LA and go see the best eye doctors in the world. And I did, but I almost gave up. It sounds weak, but I went to 8 doctors up here, and I was getting my eyes dilated twice a week. It was massively disruptive to my life, and nobody knew what to do. And they called me a special case. If I had accepted my fate as I'm just a blind guy, or there's no answer for this, it's just how it is, then I literally might have gone blind permanently in my right eye. So I did what I had to do. I went all the way to LA, paid a lot of money, spent a lot of time recovering my vision. It was important, right? All this stuff is important. It is crucial. These are not things we could just skip over and go, oh, it's not that important. You can try to. You can try to numb it down with booze and food and sex or whatever you do, drugs, but it's always going to come back. It's always going to be there. So we got to address it. And purpose, God damn it, I didn't quite, whatever. Purpose, my life is worthless. My life has no purpose. What's the point? Get dark. Go to your deepest, darkest, nihilistic views on the worthlessness of this exercise we call life. Why are we trying to live when we're living to die? What is the fucking point, right? I go there sometimes in my head. The best I can make of it is we got to figure out ways to provide value to the world in some capacity. That is the only reason that life is worth living, is figuring out ways to help other people. And there are a lot of different ways to do it. And I try to promote that within this group. Gangster, find someone within the group who is struggling, reach out, even though it's awkward, even though it's weird. That makes it even more meaningful. That makes it even more heroic. That makes it even more admirable. When you do something that's uncomfortable, reach out to somebody in need. And you don't have to be intrusive. Just give a poke. You see some guy struggling, you help him out. See someone on the street, you can't help everybody. There's a bunch of crazy people here in San Francisco. I see them every single day. Once in a while, I'll buy someone some food and I'll sit down and I'll chat with them. The chat is more important than the food. Acts of humanity are why life is meaningful. Without them, life is not meaningful. If it's just a paper chase, what's the point? I have no idea. But there is purpose. And even in your most painful moments, there is value, lessons to be taken away from your losses, your suffering. You got to be open to it, but you can take what you've learned through your losses and your suffering, you can turn it around and you can turn it into gold. It can be a lesson that prevents someone from having to go through the same suffering that you did, or through empathy, understanding, and an ability to connect with that person at that moment of pain, you can really make a difference in somebody's life. So there's your purpose. You got to be open to this concept of being purposeful, though. Readjust your sights, and start looking for these opportunities and not just expecting them to find you. But you can find purpose anywhere. You can make yourself important in someone's life today, anytime you want. But you can't do it sitting on a couch feeling bad for yourself. So think about that. And again, get nasty. Honestly, this is your time to let this guy fucking rant, rave. He talks to you all day long anyway. This is the moment to acknowledge what he's saying. This is where you take the control back. But you got to take this exercise seriously. That's all I've got for the slides. On our next call, I'd like to address what we're going to do with this information. How do we counter this voice? How do we stop these thoughts in their tracks, nip them in the bud before they impact the way we feel and impact our decisions? So we'll continue with that next week. However, I'd like to have you guys share anything you'd like to share. What I'm going to do is stop this right now. And now it's just us. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Now it's just...